Yeah, hey, appreciate it. Yep, got a chance to celebrate a birthday yesterday. Birthdays during the season, just another day. But that being said, fortunate to work here at Texas State, and I don't take that for granted. I was able to go home on a Monday and have cake and dinner with my family. I got 2 little girls, and family's everything to me. My immediate family at home and my football family. And to work for someone who, and he's not in the room, and I'll say this, to work for someone who, trusts you, believes in you to get your job done, right? So after they went to, I had some cake with them, came back up here, and you stay. When the work's done, you get your work done, then you head home. And to work for someone who believes in you that way, that instills belief in yourself, right? It instills confidence, and that's something that Coach exudes every single day when he walks into the building, and not only in the team and in the players and the guys, but also in us as coaches. And, man, I thrive and build off that every day because of the way he carries himself. So very thankful for that opportunity and thankful to be here.
Yeah. Talking about special teams, Ishmael Mahdi gets opening kickoff 100 yards. Just how was that able to, when he returns that kickoff for the touchdown, how was that able to basically lift up that game in the head, basically spurring that kind of 28-3 outburst in the first quarter?
Yeah, obviously anytime you can start a game with a kickoff return for a touchdown, you kick the extra point, you kick the ball off, and then the very next play you get an interception. I mean, I don't know if you could draw one up better to start any differently than that. So, yeah, that was obviously great. And I tease Ish and I tease all the returners, but in all seriousness, Ish has the easiest job out of everybody on that unit. And I don't mean that bad. I'm not taking anything away from Ish. Ish is phenomenal. We all know that. But the other 10 guys have the difficult job, right? It takes all 11 guys doing their job for one play, but he just kind of gets to weave through there and run with his God-given ability that he has. Well, he did that, and he did it very well. But there was a lot of other guys that set that up and did their job. They didn't do anything just anything out of the ordinary, anything extraordinary. They just did their job. But when you can piece that all together on one particular play, the result is, I think somebody said, first time since 1959 that we've returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. That's pretty special. It's pretty special for the kids, and we're going to go celebrate that. When we score on special teams, we eat. So we're going out to steak dinner Thursday night with the 11 players that were on that team. It was amazing how many how many coaches are coming up to me, hey, what time are we going? Where are we going? Were you in on that play? Were you? We got players and coaches all trying to get in, but obviously a great way to start the game. But just credit to those other 10 and obviously Ish for practicing the way they practice, believing in what they're doing, believing in themselves, and obviously believing in the scheme, and just going out there and executing for one play. And obviously that's the goal every single time. I think there's 13 teams in the country that have returned a kick for a touchdown, so it doesn't happen all the time. But obviously when you believe it's going to happen every single rep, it's probably going to happen more often than you would think.
Yeah, only team in the Sun Belt so far with a kickoff return for a TD. But where are y'all getting steaks at on Thursday?
We're going to Palmer's right here in town. We'll all get dressed up and go have a nice night and celebrate that accomplishment. So hopefully that becomes a Thursday ritual that we can do with different groups. But anytime we score on special teams, we'll do that.
Pick the local spot. Good choice.
There you go.
Ishmael Mahdi, obviously you're talking about the other 10 players, how important they are in that return, but how nice is it to have a weapon like that where you just give them the ball, and there was a video on Twitter that had him at 21 miles or 20 miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty special. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, he's doing an excellent job. And we've been fortunate. We've had, Cole's been back there and had some big returns. Drew and Chris Don have both been back there. Those guys are doing an excellent job. We've got some great skill players. When the ball gets in their hands, they can go make it happen. And it's kind of unique. I talk with Coach and with Mac Leftwich sometimes. Like the goal on offense, right, is always to get your playmakers the ball in space. Well, we have the opportunity on kickoff return to be able to do that. The other team's going to be far away. So we've been fortunate to be able to have those guys back there, and hopefully we continue to start with good field position, whether that's teams continuing to kick it deep or if they start doing some other things, we'll find ways to just continue to start with the best field position possible. That's the only goal we have on that unit. Gain possession and give the offense the ball with the best field position possible. If we can continue to do that, that helps our football team every day.
Almost a bad situation on punt return last week where they had to review it. It turned out it touched one of the players there. We've seen a couple of those moments where the ball's rolling towards the punt returner and they still try to go for it. Is that something that you coach up? You want them to maybe get those extra yards like you were just saying on kickoff return? or do you think they need to stay back away from it, or how do you feel about that?
I'd love to make a separation line between what happened in this game and maybe what you were referring to with the ball rolling. So what happened in this game was first touching. It wasn't as clear from the side view, obviously, as it was for Joey. But anytime the ball hits the punt team, the coverage team, it's called first touching. And that gives the returner or the return team the opportunity to pick the ball up and advance it, or whatever happens in that particular play. And now the choice goes to the return team of you either get the ball where it was first touched or you get the result of the play. So if Joey's able to scoop the ball up and return it for a touchdown, we get the choice of where the ball was touched or the touchdown. If Joey goes for the ball and it doesn't work out and the other team gets the ball, like happened this week, and they had already touched the ball, we get the ball right where they touched it. So that example, Joey did the right thing. Obviously, we'd love for it to be a lot clearer cut from our side view when it happened. But when Joey came over and he's like, talked to Joey about it, and Joey's like, well, yeah, coach, it hit their guy, so of course that's why I went after it. It wasn't like, man, I tried to make a play, and no, I was not fielding the ball. Now he needs to catch the ball out of the air. That's the ultimate goal of the returners, catch all balls. But in that particular example, Joey was like, well, yeah, coach, it hit their guy. That's why I went for it. It wasn't I was trying to make a play. If it hits one of their guys, he'll make a play. That was a long, probably 3 minutes there while we were waiting for that review. I'd love for it to be a lot more obvious from the angle we had, but upon review, it definitely hit their team, and that's why Joey made the play on it. But yeah, I mean that's a good understanding by him of the rules and how to take advantage of the rules and give ourselves an opportunity.
A good understanding. Must have been well coached. That's what that sounds like to me.
We as coaches, we don't play, and I think that's the one thing. I mean. Players win, man, and we got players that are playing really hard and winning right now. When things don't go well, that's on us, and we've got to figure that out as coaches. There's plenty of things that off the film that we need to get fixed, and we say all the time, man, get it off the tape. We got to get the things off the tape and not let them show back up again. But it is a lot. It's a lot easier to be critical of film after a win. You got that good feeling. You're sitting in those seats that you guys are sitting in, and everybody, coaches and players included, are a lot more receptive to criticism and getting the things off the tape we need to after we obtain the goal each week of 1-0.
Not a ton of field goals this year, but been successful on extra points. Talk to us about the kickers. Mason Shipley, we saw him earlier in the season, but and what they bring on kickoff and on field goals.
Yeah, I think I think we're 131st in the country in field goal attempts. I would say good problem to have. That means we're not attempting a lot of field goals because we're punching in the red zone. At the end of the day, the kickers go into kickers, punters, snappers go into every single game ready to execute whatever they're called upon. And that could be something early in the game. That could be a pin punt early in the game and not punting again until later. Or having to flip the field one time throughout the course of a game, which has come up for us, and then not punting again. Maybe it's a field goal early in the game that at the end of the day, it could be the difference in the game. But as a specialist, you have no idea what you're going to be called upon to do throughout the course of any particular game. So their job is to get warmed up before the game and be prepared all the way throughout the game. Obviously, Seamus not punting a ton or Shipley not kicking a lot of field goals, good problem to have, but they need to stay warm. Somebody asked me one time, like, how do you keep them fresh? Well, keep them fresh by not playing in the game. I mean, that's been good. They haven't had a lot of reps. And then kickoff, we've kicked a couple different guys off using kickoff. Excuse me, we've had different guys kick off. We'll continue to work on that. We've had, if the ball's not going out of the end zone, it's had good hang time, which allowed our coverage team to get down the field. Had a couple lapses at the end of last game, towards the end there, where we need to do a better job in coverage, and those are things that we'll get off the tape. But yeah, it's a good problem to have when they're not out there having to punt and kick field goals a lot. But we have done a good job with our PAT operation, being able to be out there. That unit's goal is to score every time, and we'll continue to do that.
Bobcats heading over to Louisiana, big game, ESPNU with Sunbelt West Division implications. Just overall thoughts, just looking at the film at Louisiana. In
a really nice way to say, big game for you guys with the Western and all the adjectives and things you use. For us, it's the next one. Yeah. It's the next game, and it's about us. They've got a good ball team. They've done a good job, been successful. They're doing a really good job this season. But at the end of the day, it's about us. We're gonna travel over there, and their field is going to be 120 yards in length and 53 1/3 in width, and we're going to pack our own footballs. And we need to focus on us. us and worry about us. Obviously, we'll watch the film. They've done a good job. There's obviously intricacies that we need to see in all three phases of the game that we need to be prepared for, that they've been successful with. Like I mentioned, they got a good ball club. We're going to prepare for them. But at the end of the day, this is the biggest game of the year because it's the next one. And as long as you continue to treat it like that, you'll look back at the end and be very happy with the results. But we just got to continue to focus on us moving forward. And Coach mentioned it. We've got some guys that are playing in certain roles. When it's your time, you step up, and when you gotta thrive in a role, do that. And we've got an entire football team of guys that are doing that right now. So very proud of their effort. Love the way they're playing, and most importantly, love the way they show up every single day, focused on the day and the task at hand to help all of us with the same common goal for every single one of us that wears that logo. So continue that moving forward.
Something we talked to Coach Keeney about, like players buying into the role, even though it's not, they're starting, that everyone's got an important role. How important is it that these players are like buying into their role?
Yeah, it's critical, right? To get to where you want to go, you need the entire football team, and that's not necessarily even just the guys that travel, right? We got guys that sit in here that don't even get to go on the road, right? Their impact, their role is absolutely critical. I'm fortunate to be able to help out kickers, with the field situation. We go out and we kick and punt and snap before practice, do some in the middle, and then we're done towards the end of practice. So I'll go down and I'll work with the scout offense. And those guys come in here and sit just like everybody else. Then they go up and they watch film and they watch the opponent. So they're acting as if they're Louisiana Lafayette this week as they go to prepare. So now all of a sudden they're the Lafayette offense, and the intricacies and the details that they have to know and have to be successful is critical. And so those guys buying into that role to make sure they do it not their way, the way that Lafayette's going to do it. And they got to do it that way so we can get the correct look so that on Saturdays it's not the first time that we've seen it. And we've got to make it look great. And those guys buying into that to still not get to go on the trip but still wear the logo and achieve that common goal, that's hard. But at the end of the day, they're as much a part of this and as important as anybody else on the roster. As far as guys that are traveling and get to buy into that role, I think it's a good life lesson, right? Certain people will have a role, and if you're not in the exact role that you want, I think the best advice is shine so bright that everybody sees it, and there's a change that needs to be made. So there's certain guys that might touch the ball or might get in on defense and go make a play, right? And maybe it's you do your job, and the ball doesn't get anywhere near you. But each time you do that, it instills confidence in everybody. It instills confidence in the individual that, hey, I'm continuing to do right, I'm doing right. And then you're just falling back to what you do every single day. We got a lot of guys that are buying into that, and those things will continue to change. It's a long season. We're doing it 1 week at a time, but we've got a lot of guys that are doing an awesome job with that. So very pleased with that at this point in time.